And let's start seated. So finding your comfortable seat, letting your bum and sit bones be fully supported by your chair. Letting the soles of the feet rest down. If that means you're a little further to the edge of the chair, that's okay too. Feeling that you're quite stable. Maybe feeling a sense that you could lift your spine up, sitting nice and tall, crown of the head lifting up, but with the chin parallel to the floor. So there might be just a very slight tuck of the chin, almost as though you were reaching the back of your head up. It might feel good to sway back and forth, side to side, settling in. Letting the weight be nicely and evenly distributed through both sides of the bony parts of your bum. It might feel good to close your eyes or to keep them open, keeping the gaze soft as we settle in. And starting to pay attention to your breath. Letting the breath flow smoothly and easily from inhale to exhale, not changing anything yet. Just noticing your natural rhythm. As we settle in, noticing where your hands are resting, and when they feel better, palms up or palms down. How would it feel to soften the forehead any amount, if there's any tension there? How would it feel to soften the jaw? Sometimes it can help to bring the tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth, encouraging that a little bit of softness. Releasing the tongue whenever you're ready. How would it feel to soften the shoulders down any amount? Letting the shoulders reach out wide, even while resting down. Maybe bringing some softness to the belly, allowing the belly to expand on an inhale, with a gentle contraction on the exhale. Noticing that the backs of your thighs are supported by the chair. Soles of the feet supported by the floor. As we sit here breathing in this tall seat, maybe imagining that your breath could expand beyond your lungs, down into the root of your torso. And maybe with every inhale, expanding a little more deeply into various parts of your body, starting to travel down into your limbs, maybe eventually reaching the very tips of your fingers and the tips of your toes, the top of your head. Allowing the inhale to refresh and renew the body, revitalizing, bringing fresh energy with every in-breath. How would it feel to add to this visualization, ridding your body of anything unwanted with every exhale, while the inhale refreshes and renews? Maybe the exhale sweeps your body clear of anything that no longer serves you, the cobwebs, the gunk, the stickiness. As you visualize your breath, noticing if the in-breath and the out-breath have colors. How does it look and feel in your mind's eye? And starting to slowly let go of the visualization. Maybe bringing back your awareness to the temperature of the air at your nostrils or the movement of your belly as you breathe. Let's start to gently move into the neck. When your next exhale arrives, tipping the chin down towards the chest. With an inhale, slowly lifting the head. If eyes are open, maybe gazing at the ceiling. Eyes can stay closed as well. And then moving with your breath, continuing exhale, chin down towards chest. Inhaling to lift the gaze, lifting the chin. Moving through about 3 more cycles of breath, following your breath pattern in your rhythm. Eventually, as you've completed your cycles, making your way back to center, head forward. Noticing sensations in the neck. And then we'll start turning the head to one side and then the other, keeping the chin nice and level. Let's inhale forward. As you exhale, turning your head to one side. Inhaling back to center as you're ready, moving so slowly, moving with the breath. Exhaling to the other side. Continuing to move, inhaling forward. Exhaling to one side. Noticing sensations in the neck. Noticing any areas that are a little stickier, could use a little more attention. Noting, observing. Put one more on each side, and once you feel even, we'll make our way back to center. No rush to get there. Once you arrive back in center, again, giving yourself the time to notice sensations in the neck, maybe in the shoulders. Eyes can be open or closed. And then next we'll move or tip the head from one side to the other. So starting in center, inhaling here. As you exhale, tipping left ear to left shoulder. Let's pause here. We'll take 2 breath cycles. When your next inhale arrives, slowly coming up to center. And on the exhale, tipping right ear to right shoulder. Pausing here for 2 full breath cycles. When your next inhale arrives, coming back to center. Noticing again how the neck feels. We'll change it up just a little bit this morning, adding some neck strengthening as well as the neck kind of stretching and loosening. So let's start, since we started initially with the chin tipping towards the chest, bringing one hand to your forehead. Exerting just a very gentle pressure towards your forehead, and your forehead will resist. So you're not actually moving your head, but you're finding a little bit of activation. The forehead is pushing against the head, the forehead is pushing it against the hand rather. The hand is gently pushing back. Breathing here just for a few cycles of breath, keeping it quite gentle. And then releasing the hand as you're ready, releasing the neck. Might feel good to take some gentle movement in the neck, just noticing. And let's bring both hands to the back of the head. And we'll resist backwards this time. So very gentle pressure of the hands pushing into the back of the neck, and the head resists. So we're not actually tipping the head at all, but finding some very gentle resistance between the back of the head and the hands. Let the shoulders be fairly relaxed if possible. Couple more breaths. And then releasing the hands as you're ready. Again, maybe some gentle movement in the neck. And coming back to center when you're ready. Noticing any sensations so far. And then we'll find that same resistance, but as if we were tipping the head to one side. So let's bring left hand to left temple. Finding some very gentle pressure and resisting with the head. Head stays forward. Breathing here. Gentle resistance between head and hand. And releasing when you're ready. Maybe some gentle movement in between again. And the last one, we'll bring right hand to right temple. Gentle pressure against the head, and head resists. Remembering to breathe. Releasing when you're ready. The idea of being that within our whole body, muscles that are both strong and supple help us more, support us more. So we often stretch into the neck from all the tension that we find during our days, but it might help to strengthen the neck muscles as well so that they're actually more useful to us. Hopefully reducing neck strain or pains. All right, let's move down into the shoulders a little bit, finding some gentle shoulder rolls in one direction. And switching directions as you're ready. Maybe shrugging the shoulders up towards the ears, really squeezing the shoulders up. And then releasing them down. Squeezing up once more. Maybe releasing with a an exhale. Once or twice more. Inhaling to squeeze. Exhaling to release. One more, last one. Inhaling to squeeze. Exhaling to release. Beautiful. Let's move into the shoulders again, but this time kind of, rather than doing them synchronized, we'll do one and then the other. So we'll move in the same direction, but one at a time. Your fingertips might creep along your thighs. Mine are moving along my thighs. And pausing. And let's switch directions. If the shoulders were going back, now coming forward. And then releasing everything, coming back to your neutral spine, tall seat, hands resting, crown of the head lifting up, shoulders nice and broad, letting the breath flow. Beautiful, let's move down into the spine. Let's start with our cat-cows this morning. So we'll turn sideways. Letting the hands either reach for the knees or being secure on the thighs. Inhaling in this tall and neutral spine. As you exhale, push the knees or thighs away as though you could draw your belly towards the back of the chair. Shoulder blades gently spread apart and the chin tucks. As you inhale, we'll reverse the arch of the spine, bringing the belly and chest forward, drawing the shoulder blades back together and the chin might lift, gazing at the ceiling. Exhaling again to find that Halloween cat shape, belly button towards the back of the chair. Inhaling to find cow, chest comes through the upper arms, shoulder blades pull towards each other. Moving to your own breath a few more times. When you've had enough, making your way back to our neutral spine. No rush to get here. But once you land in your neutral spine, noticing sensations, giving yourself the time and space to notice what's happening in your body. Let's move into our side bend. For today's side bend, let's bring the arms up and overhead. If this doesn't feel good in the shoulders, we can have arms at about shoulder distance or even shoulder height rather, or even a little bit lower. So anywhere along this continuum that feels good, but generally a wide shape. You can imagine holding a beach ball. Inhaling nice and tall, reaching the beach ball up high. As you exhale, let's tip over to the left, keeping the right sit bone super heavy as though it were glued to the chair. Inhaling back up to center. Exhaling other side, this time left sit bone stays really heavy on the chair. Inhaling back to center. Moving with your own breath about twice more on each side. Finding that almost a pull between the sit bone and the top arm. Finding a stretch in the side body, creating space between the ribs. Moving with your breath. Keep the legs nice and firmly supported on the floor. Eventually making your way back to center as you're even. And releasing the hands back down. Noticing sensations, maybe in the arms for this one, as well as the side body. And moving into our twist. I'm going to give 3 options again for our twist. First option, legs can stay exactly where they are, nice and firmly planted on the ground. Option 2 would be to cross right thigh over the left. Option 3 is to draw right ankle or shin across the left knee. If you're choosing this lifted knee option, keep the right foot flexed. So in any of the leg positions, feet planted, or legs crossed, or ankle across knee. Inhaling nice and tall. As we exhale, let's turn towards the right. The left hand might find a place on the right knee or thigh. The right hand might sweep back beside your hip or behind you on the chair. Breathing here. Since we're twisting and the breathing might be a little bit constricted in the belly, imagine sending your breath into your rib cage. If it feels okay for the neck, we could look over our right shoulder or in that direction. About 2 more breaths if it feels okay to stay, knowing you can come out of any pose at any time. This is your body and your practice. Slowly unwinding back to center as you're ready. Pausing here as you arrive back in center with your legs in whichever position. Again, inhale nice and tall. And as you exhale, let's hinge forward any amount, keeping the chest nice and broad, just a little forward fold. One more breath if it feels okay to stay. Then inhaling all the way back up. Unwinding or uncrossing the legs, bringing both soles of the feet back to the floor if they were lifted. Resetting in this tall seat, taking a moment to notice any difference from one side of the body to the other. Whether the leg was lifted or it was just the twist, we probably feel slightly uneven, longer on one side. And then let's set up for the twist on the other side. Either both feet stay planted. Option 2, left thigh crosses over right. Option 3, drawing the shin or maybe the ankle across the right knee. And if you've chosen option 3, keep the left foot flexed, toes pulling towards the shin. Inhaling as you're ready in center. As you exhale, let's turn shoulders towards the left, maybe bringing the right hand to rest on the knee or thigh of the left leg. Left hip might come back beside your hip or behind you on the chair. If it feels okay for the neck, you might look in the direction of your left shoulder or over your left shoulder. Continuing to breathe, maybe directing the breath into your rib cage. Staying here for about 2 more breath cycles if it feels okay. Always know you can come out whenever you wish. Slowly unwinding when you're ready, coming back to center. Pausing here for a moment. When you're ready, inhaling in the tall seat. As you exhale, tipping forward, hinging forward, finding a very small forward fold or a forward fold that feels good in your body, wherever your legs are. And inhaling all the way up. Unwinding or uncrossing the legs if they were lifted. Noticing how it feels. We've stretched both sides, twisted both sides of our body now, noticing sensations. And let's move down into the hips a little bit. Shifting forward on your seat so that the sit bones are still supported, but you have a little more space for the legs to move. And let's start by maybe holding the sides of the chair and wiggling the knees back and forth. Just finding a little bit of movement in the hips, a little windshield wiper action. And making your way back to center as you're ready, letting both feet be firmly supported on the ground. And we'll play with lifting the right leg up towards us. First option would be to reach down and pull the leg in towards you. If you're looking for a little more of a challenge this morning, we could look to draw the right knee up towards the chest or as close as possible towards the torso with no hands. Seeing how far you can bring it before grabbing with the hands. Beautiful. Then once you have your right leg supported, let's start to draw some circles with the right knee. You can hold under the thigh, you can hold around the knee or around the shin, wherever it feels comfortable. And then noticing what's doing the work. Is your hand doing the work? Is it your arm working to draw the knee around? And could you lighten the arm's load by bringing some work into the leg itself? Playing with that balance. Who's driving the circles? The arm or leg? Let's switch directions as you're ready. Noticing maybe if the arm is driving the movement, is the circle size any different than if the knee is moving or if the leg is moving on its own? Is the range of motion different? Then releasing eventually right foot back to the mat, back to the floor. Giving yourself the in-between, noticing sensation between one thigh or one leg and the other. And let's move over to the left. Either reaching down and drawing left leg up towards you, or playing with the idea of bringing the left knee in towards you without hands. Using the power of your leg, and even your core comes into that one. Once you have your left leg supported, choosing whether it feels good to hold under the thigh, around the knee, or around the shin, and we'll start to draw some circles. And then again, starting to notice what part of you is drawing the circles. Is it your leg that's driving the action? Is it your hand that's moving the leg that's doing all the work? Can you shift the power balance a little bit? Let's switch directions of the circles. And noticing as you play between the balance of the leg work or the arm work, when the arm does the work, is the range of motion any different than if you're using your leg to drive the circle? And bringing the left foot back to the mat as you're ready, back to the floor. Let's widen the legs. We'll come into a variation of goddess pose. So letting the knees follow the direction of your toes. Toes are pointing out. And let's bring hands into a prayer position. We'll move with breath. As you inhale, let's draw the arms out into a cactus or goalpost shape. As you exhale, bringing the hands back into prayer. Inhaling to draw the arms apart. Exhaling to bring the hands back towards each other. Pausing here, continuing to breathe, but pausing here. How would it feel to imagine drawing the legs back, drawing the knees back towards behind you a little bit? Activating maybe the outer hips. Those are the stabilizing muscles that we need to keep our balance often. Holding that, if it feels okay, we'll breathe 3 more cycles of breath with the arms. Inhaling to draw the arms into goalpost. Exhaling to bring hands back to prayer. Inhaling again, goalpost. You can follow your own breath if my breath pattern doesn't match. Last one. Inhaling to open wide. Exhaling to bring them back to prayer. Let's release the knees a little bit, releasing the legs. Might feel good again to wiggle the knees from side to side. From here, let's widen the knees one more time, but this time we're aiming to straighten the legs as much as possible, bringing the heels onto the floor. And then stretching the arms out wide, finding a version of 5-pointed star. It might feel good to reach the arms back behind you a little bit, almost stretching into the upper back. Heels pushing strongly into the floor, and remember to breathe. Chest lifts, but not losing the control of your core. Front hip bones and front ribs are pulling towards each other to contain the belly. And then releasing, bringing hands back, bringing legs back. Coming back to our neutral spine. Feet can come forward again, knees forward. Crown of the head lifting. Beautiful. Let's move through our sun salutations. So deciding your sun salutation position, whether knees are about hip width distance or if you like a little more space. We've got lots of arm variations. Either arms can come up and overhead if that feels good for the shoulders. Arms can also come wide. You could revisit that cactus arm shape. Or if the shoulders are you feeling quite overused this morning, the arms could also come down and wide. So choosing your variation, where are you headed? And then as you're ready, inhaling and sweeping arms wherever they're headed. Maybe up and overhead, maybe wide, maybe low. Exhaling to bring hands back to thighs. Inhaling, let's find cow pose. Chest comes forward, belly comes forward, shoulder blades draw together, gaze lifts. As you exhale, rounding the spine like a Halloween cat, spine towards the back of the chair, chin tucks. Inhaling back to a tall and neutral spine. As you exhale, fold forward. Forearms might come to knees, fingertips might trace the shins, or maybe the fingertips or hands come to the floor, letting the head release as you arrive. With an inhale, let's sweep right arm into a twist. Exhaling, right arm down. Inhale, left arm sweeps up into a twist. Exhale, left arm down. Inhale, both arms sweep wherever they want to head, coming back to a tall and neutral spine. Exhaling to release the hands back to your thighs. Pausing here, taking a nice full breath cycle. Deciding if the knees want to stay at the distance they are. Maybe they want to come back to neutral. Maybe they want to be wider. Deciding where your hands are headed, what variation feels good in your body, or if you want to try something else. As you're ready, sweeping arms with an inhale. Exhaling, hands back to thighs. Inhaling to draw chest and belly forward, cow pose. Exhaling to round the spine, Halloween cat shape. Inhaling back to a tall and neutral spine. Exhaling to fold forward, your version. Maybe forearms to thighs, maybe fingertips trace the shins or hands come to the floor. With an inhale, let's sweep right arm into a twist. Exhaling, right arm back down. Inhale, left arm sweeps up into a twist. Exhale, left arm comes back down. As you're ready, sweeping arms wherever they're headed, inhaling back to a tall and neutral spine. Exhaling, hands back to your thighs. Beautiful. Last one, which variation is yours today? I'm going to come back to more narrow legs since I've done 2 wide variations. Imagining where your arms are headed, what feels good for you today. As you're ready, sweeping arms maybe up and overhead or arms wide, arms in cactus. Inhale. Exhaling, hands to thighs. Inhaling, cow pose, chest and belly come forward, gaze lifts. Exhaling to round the spine like a Halloween cat. Inhaling up to a neutral spine. Exhaling to fold forward, maybe forearms come to thighs, fingertips might trace the shins, or bringing fingertips or palms to the floor. Inhaling to sweep right arm into a twist. Exhaling, right arm down. Left arm sweeps up into a twist. Exhale, left arm down. Inhale, both arms sweep up, maybe overhead, maybe wide, bringing us back to a tall seat. Exhaling, hands to thighs. Beautiful. Making our way up to standing, let's come through chair pose. So bringing the heels back towards the chair, starting to shift the weight into the feet. Hands can either come to prayer or to your hips. And let's lift just the seat of the chair up. Hovering here. And then slowly coming all the way to standing. Beautiful. Finding ourselves facing the back of the backrest of the chair. Let's actually have one hip perpendicular to the chair. And let's find that we found a seated goddess and a seated five-pointed star, and we'll flow between those two while standing. So bringing the feet nice and wide, the toes can be pointing out a little bit. And either the hand can stay on the chair, or if you're feeling quite stable, the hands can come into prayer. With an exhale, let's bend into the legs, finding goddess. With an inhale, we'll stretch into the legs, reaching the arms out wide, finding our five-pointed star. Exhaling again to bring hands to prayer, bending into the knees, finding goddess. Inhaling to come back to standing. So as we come into goddess, the knees don't need to bend to their deepest. It'll depend on how it feels in your body. Maybe two more, inhaling to five-pointed star. Exhaling to goddess as you're ready. Feeling fierce. Five-pointed star. Let's end in goddess. Taking a full breath cycle here. Before we release, straightening the legs, let's bring the feet closer towards each other. Maybe finding any wiggling that would feel good, releasing the hips, releasing the thighs a little bit, maybe a little rubbing or patting of the thighs would feel good. And let's find our chair version of downward dog. So either letting your hands rest on the backrest of the chair or on the seat of the chair, depending on the height that you prefer. And then we'll walk the feet back. Legs can stay quite wide. Knees can stay bent. Reaching the tailbone in one direction and the crown of the head in the other, finding lots of length in the spine. From here, if it would feel good to straighten into the legs, that's an option. Keeping in mind, we're trying to find length in the spine is kind of our primary objective in this one. Finding a couple of breaths here. And as you're ready, slowly walking back towards the chair, coming back. Pausing as you arrive and standing, letting the feet firmly be planted on the floor. Letting your weight be evenly distributed in the soles of your feet. Maybe, if you feel quite stable, releasing the chair, letting the hands fall down by your sides. And finding our standing version of a tall and neutral spine. Letting the feet be planted. Legs are a bit active, pushing into the floor. Crown of the head is lifted. Chin is about parallel to the floor. Chest and upper back are nice and broad. And releasing mountain pose, we'll find a balance pose. So having your chair available for support as necessary. Let's start by shifting the weight into the left foot, letting the right foot get light. So maybe the right toes come up and the tips of the toes are on the floor, and this might be balanced today. If you're looking for a little more challenge or more balance, maybe the right knee lifts, bringing it as close towards your chest as possible. Then maybe we play with letting go of the hands. Maybe a hand stays. Maybe you play with some branches. Maybe you think about straightening the leg, lifting it as high as possible. Maybe that's crazy talk. Maybe the tip of the toe is still on the floor. Playing, letting it be playful. It's just yoga. Eventually, let's release the right foot back down to the floor. Finding any wiggling that would feel good, release with the hips a little bit, maybe shaking out the sole of the standing leg, and we'll switch sides. If it would feel good to switch so that your other hand has the support, we could do that as well. Finding your balance on your right foot, letting the left foot start to get light. Maybe the tips of the toes stay on the floor. This might be our balance today. If it would feel good to draw the left knee up towards you, bringing it as close towards your chest as comfortably possible. Then maybe from here, we start to play with lifting the hands. Maybe we want to stretch out the left leg, lifting it as high as possible. Maybe that's crazy. Breathing as you balance. And then as you're ready, releasing the left foot back to the floor or the sole of the foot back to the floor. And finding any release in your body that would feel good, a little wiggling, a shaking out of the standing foot maybe. Beautiful. Let's bring the feet wide once more, toes pointing forward. We'll find one more side stretch. So since the right hand is the one kind of reaching for the chair, let's lift left arm up and overhead. If it feels okay for the shoulder. If this doesn't feel good for the shoulder, the hand can come to the hip as well. And then we'll bend over to the right. Breathing here for a breath or two. Then inhaling all the way up. And exhaling to release the left arm. Let's bring the feet together to switch sides. Left hand is supported. Stepping the feet wide, toes forward. Right arm will sweep up and overhead if it feels okay for the shoulder. Or right hand can come to the waist as well. As you exhale, tipping over to the left. Spending a breath or two here. And inhaling all the way up as you're ready. Exhaling the arm down. Stepping the feet back together. And we'll make our way back to seated. If there's any last movement that your body would feel good making while we're standing, going ahead, finding whatever your body needs before we sit. We'll meet back in the chair. Letting the backs of the thighs be firmly supported, letting the sit bones be supported. If you have a backrest to your chair, as we start to close practice, it might feel good to rest back, maybe to let the feet move a little bit away from you. Letting the chest remain quite broad. Letting the hands rest down on your thighs, whether it's palms up or palms down. And maybe closing your eyes if that feels okay, or keeping the gaze nice and soft. And coming back to the idea of noticing the breath. How would it feel to revisit our visualization of inhaling renewal and exhaling to expel? Maybe with every inhale, that revitalizing breath fills your whole body, all the way to the tips of your toes and fingers and top of your head. And with every exhale, sweeping away anything that no longer serves you. With every inhale, allowing your breath to energize every cell. With every exhale, sweeping away anything that's no longer serving you. Slowly letting go of the visualization. Coming back to the feeling of your breath in your belly or at the tip of your nose. Noticing sensations in your fingertips and palms. And fluttering your eyes open if they were closed. In closing practice, the hands can stay exactly where they are if they're comfortable. They could come to cover your heart or maybe into Anjali Mudra, universal prayer position. Sending gratitude to yourself, first of all, for making the time to practice, to move and breathe together. With gratitude to you for allowing me to guide you through this practice this morning. And with gratitude to all the students and teachers who have come before us, passing down this practice. Peace. Thank you all very much for joining me, and I'll stop the recording.